Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and in this video, I want to talk about the LAiV Harmony stack, which is the Harmony DAC and the Harmony HP2A headphone amplifier, which individually they sell for $2,700 US. Together, meaning the stack is $5,400 US. Now, I have reviewed both of these products separately here recently, and I will link to those videos down in the description below. So see those reviews for my opinions on both of these pieces individually, and also all of the relevant disclaimers and so forth. In this video, I want to talk about how these two perform and get along as a stack, because I think there is an interesting conversation to be had there. So what is that conversation? Stick around right after shameless self-promotion to find out.
Hello. I'm one of the reasons that Wave Theory can't spend all of his money on audio gear. He wants you to know that your support is vital for keeping the channel running. So if you enjoy Wave Theory's bussin' review riz and no-cap review style and want to encourage him to stay in the basement so I don't have to listen to his dad jokes as much, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also send him a donation on PayPal or sign up for the Patreon. Links are in the description. Now on to the review.
Alright, why are we here? Why do this video looking at the two of these things together? Well, clearly these visually are meant to be a stack. I mean, they have a very similar aesthetic, and they also have this spike foot structure here that matches to each other really well. So physically, they are clearly meant to be a stack. But what I noticed here is that sonically, these two play off of each other very, very well. And that's what I want to talk about here. So there is a such thing, at least to my ears anyway, and I think to the ears of many, there is a such thing as a house sound to a lot of different brands. If you buy multiple products from any given brand, chances are very good that you're going to hear similarities, similar characters, a family resemblance, if you will, in the sound of the individual products within those brands. Right? And that can create some interesting synergies at times, particularly when you talk about stacking an amp and a DAC together from the same maker. What very often happens here is that like a audio company, particularly when you get up in the high end like this, they have a small team of designers and engineers that design pretty much all of their products. And those designers or engineers generally have their own take on what hi-fi audio should be and what things should sound like. And so they are naturally going to tune their individual pieces to that sound. And there might be slightly different flavors of that sound, but more often than not, you're going to be a lot more similarities than there are differences in between the individual pieces. And so when you buy a stack like this, what very frequently happens is that you get a double down on that house sound. Let me give you an example here, and I don't say this to be derogatory in any way, because I think that individually these pieces are both very strong. But when you put them together, they don't necessarily work very well. And that would be the stack from Ferrum of the Vondla DAC and the OR amp. Okay, whether you run them on the Hypsos power supply or not. Okay, I have also reviewed both of those pieces, and I think individually they are also both quite solid. But you put them together and it is just a doubling down on that Ferrum house sound, which to me is just a little bit too soft, a little bit too laid back, a little bit too passive in its overall sound right there. But you match the Vondla DAC to like a warmer, thicker amp, like say the Violectric HPA V281 or the Hi-Fiman Golden Wave Prelude as two examples, and I really like that DAC. You match the OR to like a warmer, thicker, fuller kind of DAC, like something like the original Denafrips Pontus 2 or something of that nature, and I really like that amp too. But you put the Vondla and the OR together and you just get a little bit too much. It's just a little like too neutral, a little too flat, a little too like dynamically challenging, and just a little bit too laid back, because both of those pieces, the Vondla and the OR, kind of have those same similar sonic traits, and so you double down on them. Okay. I'm not picking on Ferrum here, because this happens a lot with a lot of different brands. Like, for example, the Hollow May and the Hollow Bliss, that stack to me, like, they sound very similar to each other in those in their characters, and so when you put them together, you get a doubling down on those traits, and it's just too much for me in that way. All right, let's now turn our attention to the LAiV Harmony DAC and why I want Harmony Stack, excuse me, and why I wanted to make this video. And that is because these two do have some sonic similarities, but they are different enough in their presentations that you don't really get a doubling down effect with them. The HP2A amplifier here is that warmer, thicker, kind of more laid back, relaxed, smooth kind of sound. All right, the Harmony DAC here is a more forward, energetic, lively kind of sound too. And so when you put them together, they meet in the middle. The sound produced by the two of them together kind of meets in the middle, and you get a pretty neutral, well-balanced, and honestly very organic and enjoyable kind of presentation that to me is, again, it's very well balanced. It strikes a good balance between detail retrieval and yet the presentation of that detail being neither too forward to be in my face or too pulled back where it sounds lacking, right? Conversely, the dynamics are well balanced with each other. It seems like neither too forward nor aggressive nor too back or reserved to me in there as well. It's just very well balanced, okay, in the synergy between the two. And again, that stands out to me. This is a different experience that I have had with a stack than I have with stacks from other brands and so forth. And that's why I'm making this video, to point out that to me, these two are different. They do something a little bit differently and a little bit more interesting to my ears anyway than a lot of other things, which again, I want to stress, I am not saying that there is anything wrong with the Ferrum Vonla or the Ferrum Or, okay, or the Hollow May. I didn't like the Hollow Bliss. I'll confess I'm saying something is wrong with that one, okay? But most of those pieces individually are fine. And again, those are only just examples from two companies here. I'm just saying that LAiV approached this differently from the outset. And it's not just me saying that, because I emailed Wengfei Ho, the owner and designer of these pieces here, the owner of LAiV and designer of these pieces. And I said to him basically, hey, look, did you design these sonically with the intent of being used as a stack, being used together? Because here's what I'm observing. And of course, he had already seen my individual reviews of these pieces by this time too. Okay. This piece right here, the amp is like warmer, more laid back, relaxed and smooth kind of sound. And then the DAC is a little bit more forward, energetic, active, lively. They both are smooth. They both are refined. Like they have some similar tonal character to them, but like presentationally, they are very complementary to each other. Like, did you mean to do that? Is that the intent? And he said, yes. Okay. He said that, that my observations on that were very accurate, that he designed the amplifier to be a little bit more relaxed and smooth, and he designed the DAC to be a little bit more energetic and slightly more forward and lively in its presentation, so that when you put the two of them together, you got a little bit more warm, full, but well-balanced and very organic presentation to them. And I agree. That's what my ears were picking out too. But I figured it was worth running the question by him to see, like, am I making this up? Like, or is there something to what I am saying? All right. So that agreement there was helpful because, one, it confirmed my suspicions, and also, two, it did in some senses validate what I was hearing in a lot of ways, to say that I'm not just making up the way that these sound, like they were designed that way on purpose, and then my ears were confirming those design goals, okay, or that those design goals had been met, as it were. All right, so I just wanted to make a few comments on this. And again, like, if you have the Ferrum Or and Vonla stack and you like it, great. Okay, I'm not saying that you are wrong. If you have a Hollow DAC and the Bliss amp together and you love them, great. Continue to enjoy them and all of that. I'm just saying that I do think that in most cases, when you buy within the same company, you're going to get a double down on the house sound. And LAiV is unique here in that they did something a little bit different, right? They dared to make two products that are different enough and that work together well enough. So do I recommend these together? Yeah, I definitely do. It's a very interesting, very enjoyable, and really a very realistic listening experience here, to my ears anyway. Can you match either of these pieces to a component from another company? Yeah, absolutely, you can do that too. There's nothing wrong with that either. Okay, I'm just saying that these two together really perform well. They really match together well. And to my ears and in my experience, that stands out amongst hi-fi makers here in how different these two pieces sound to each other from the same company, but then how well they complement each other and work together and synergize together there as a result. All right, quicker video today, but I wanted to drop those thoughts out there. Thanks again to Weng-Fai Ho at LAiV for sending these over for review. I do have his micro DDC reclocker and DDC in that's going to get a review. When I can get to it, I'm swamped. I got a lot of stuff that I'm going to get here, but that is coming up in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, please remember to like, subscribe, comment. Please check out my PayPal, my Patreon, and generally do those things you do to support YouTube channels. And as always, enjoy the music.